Hey everyone, it's Travis speaking. Before we took a look at transforming objects, and today what I'd like to do is take a little bit of a look at different ways of selecting objects and getting in and around your model. We're going to take a look at a few tools like the dialog box for selection and selection settings with the marquee tools, linking for parent and child relationships. We're going to look at locking selections and selection sets. I also want to talk a little about creating geometry from pre-existing geometry using copies and instances. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to talk a little bit about creating copies and creating instances or references, and I'm going to use this box here to show you briefly how you do that. So if you wanted to make an array of these boxes, one of the things you can do with the move tool in place is simply hold down the shift key and then start your move command. And what happens is it brings up a dialog box asking you whether you want to copy, an instance, or a reference. And the name of the first box was box 1, so it's going to name it box 2. But maybe I want 3 or 4 of these copies. So I'm actually going to choose the instance command because I want anything I do moving forward to this first box to carry over to all the other ones. So 4 is enough. I'm going to hit OK. Now you see I've got 5 boxes, and if I change my view, I can actually make some changes to this first one using my modifier panel, and you'll see what happens. So I'm going to change that width just a little bit, and then everything changes with it. So that's a nice handy tool, say if you wanted to lay out an array of lights for a ceiling plan or something to that effect, and all those lights would have the same properties. So we'll take a look at selection sets as well. Maybe I want all of these to be selected at once instead of just selecting one. So one of the ways that I can do that is to make a selection first of all of those objects and then come up to the selection sets drop down, and I'll just call this boxes. Hit the enter key, and now I can move anything else around or do what I have to do, and I can still select these one by one if I want to. But if I come over to this cone's sphere, or sorry, this boxes, you'll see that it selects all of these objects now, and I can make a move to all of them. So this is a handy feature if, say, you wanted to apply material to a set of walls. You could create a selection set and then perform one action for all of those objects. So there's a couple different ways of selecting. You can use the selection tool and simply select the object by clicking on it, or you can use the marquee object and select multiples. So right now, with the way it's set up, anywhere that this window touches an object, it's going to select it. But if I change that mode over here, now I have to entirely encase that object with my marquee tool. So I like to keep it to the crossing window because it's a little bit easier to select multiples. But if you want to use a circle or create a different selection by drawing a shape, maybe you just want a few of them, you can do that as well. And now I can create selection sets using a little bit more precise selection method. So the other thing is I might want to use those two objects, and I might want to make a selection, not a selection set, sorry, but a parent-child relationship between the two of them. So what I would do is come up here to the top and choose the link tool. Now it says select an object and then drag to assign it a parent. So I want to make this sphere the child and this the parent, so I hold my left mouse button down and create this line over to the cylinder, and now the cylinder is the parent object of the sphere. So what that means essentially is if I move this sphere, or sorry, the cylinder, the sphere will move with it, but because the child relationship, it can move freely dependent of the parent. So that's linking. You can also unlink at any time using the unlink selection, and you have bind to space warp, but that's getting a little bit further than where we're at right now. So another thing that you might want to do is just to keep one object locked, you can come down to this selection lock toggle at the bottom, and now you can move that, and if you do happen to come off of that object, you won't be able to select anything else. So you can also access that toggle by hitting the space bar, and that will unlock the selection and let you move on to other geometry in your project. So those are some simple tools for selecting, and in the next video we're going to take a look at how you can use edit poly or edit mesh to access certain aspects of the geometry. So maybe you just want to grab the top of this cylinder here, or this cone. Maybe you only want to grab one point of this rectangle or this cube, and you want to pull that off. So we're going to look at that next video, and thanks for watching. Bye now.